Hey friends, welcome back to the Hangar Bar. We are going to start today's episode with a little bit of life advice. We are going on a milestone birthday / not quite milestone anniversary trip. And Candace and I were sitting around one evening and decided that we were going to do a Disney trip and do throwback to something we've done in the past, a land and sea voyage. And so we started looking, and we were close to pressing book on our cruise ship piece of it and figuring out the land later. And I just said, wait, what's something we haven't done before? We've not sailed Concierge. How much extra is that? That word, important, right, Candace?
Very important.
Very important. So she said whatever the dollar amount was. I don't even remember how much extra it was at this point. But I'm like, that's not too bad. Let's just sail Concierge. And then, so done. We booked in, and we'll get into all of this in the episode. That's the intent of the episode. But then we started booking the land portion, and you all know we fell in love with the beach club. So we were originally going to stay there, but then Scott, in his brilliance, again said, how much extra is staying at the Poly? It was only like $300 extra to stay at the Poly for the couple of nights that we were going to be there. So I'm like, done. And then, Candace, what was the question I asked after that?
The question you asked after that, after everything was all booked and everything, was what are we actually spending on this vacation?
Friends, that is your life advice. Ask all the questions before you get started. Hey, welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candace. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us. Okay, welcome back to the Hangar Bar, everybody. Super excited to be with you today.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, we are going to be talking about, we've actually been hinting at this for a while, right?
Right, and if you heard our introduction, you know exactly where we're going today.
Right. Yeah, we are going to talk all about the trip that we booked, what we're excited about, decisions we're still trying to kind of make, and yeah, just all sorts of those kind of things. Just telling you all about our planning process.
Trip planning / training. I
Yeah,
like it.
I do, yes.
I may have to TM that one.
I want to be very careful with that, though.
That's true. Never mind.
Yeah.
Going on. We don't need to revisit it. Just move on. Move ahead.
Please ignore everything you heard over the last 30 seconds. Okay. So, Candace.
Yes.
How did we get to an all-on Disney vacation versus maybe what we were thinking about for a milestone? Do we need to tell everybody kind of our evolution?
So I think that's a good point. So originally we've got, as Scott alluded to in the introduction, we've got milestone birthdays happening this year. And he said not quite a milestone anniversary, but when you've been married as long as we have in this day and age, I think every year we get is a milestone.
I will take it, yes.
Yeah. So we decided we're going to do kind of a big knockdown, drag out, blowout kind of trip. And initially we had thought Europe for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
We have friends and family that live in Germany, so we would be staying with them and then moving on to France and eventually finding our way to the UK and spending some time there and then flying home from England, which grand plan, great, whatever, fine. We had it pretty smoothed out.
Right.
As far as what we were going to do. But as we were looking at specifically flights, I think was the big thing.
Right.
We just realized that was a lot of money and a lot of time sitting on an airplane. And granted, we will get to Europe.
Yes.
We will get there. But for this year specifically, because we've got some other things going on, outside of birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. Like, we've got some things going on in real life
Right.
that are taking both time
And money.
and resources. We just decided on a quote unquote easier vacation to
Right.
have to navigate. We're very comfortable with Disney. We're familiar with both the land and the sea side of things. We chose the Magic, which is probably one of the nearest and dearest ships of the fleet to us because it's one of the smaller ships. It's one of the OG ships.
It was our second cruise ship.
Right. In the
Well,
fleet.
Third cruise ship overall. Second in the fleet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're very comfortable with that. And that's kind of how we landed on that. And then to plus it up, we went to a concierge level stateroom on the ship for that experience. And then the Poly has been on our bucket list from day one.
Yep. Yeah, and as we joked about in the opening, don't get me wrong, this is not an inexpensive trip.
No.
But I think I joke about not knowing the price ahead of time, and the amount that we're spending on this trip probably is not that far off from what we would have spent going to Europe. But I think, to Candace's point, it's easier. It's something we know for this milestone birthday. It's going to feel maybe a little less rushed. It's going to feel a little less like we have to do everything. Whereas if we were going to spend only 2 weeks in Europe and visit 3 countries while we do it, it was going to feel like we were
Very
go.
rushed.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of part of the reason why we made the decision. And just like you said, with everything going on at home, just there's going to be a lot of
All
moving
good
pieces.
things.
All good things. Nothing bad.
Yeah.
Nothing
it's
bad
just
at all.
a lot.
Lots of moving pieces.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So just less to think about because we're so experienced in the Disney bubble.
Right.
So that's why we chose there. So let's start with what you talked about just a second ago, concierge level on the Magic. We decided have we talked about on the show before how we are starting to try and prioritize things we've not done?
I think we have not specifically called that out, but I know it's a topic that we speak about frequently, especially
Right.
when we're on trips and say we did this or we selected this because we've never done it before, and here's our experience and
Right.
here's what we think.
Yeah, some of that is because we became podcasters. Some of it's your travel professional, and some of it is just you could go to Disney 1,000 times and not see and do everything.
Yes.
So getting ourselves out of the rut of what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yes, that means spending a little bit more, splurging a little bit, that kind of thing, which comes to the concierge level.
Right.
We've always kind of wondered what that was going to be like.
Right.
And our stateroom, y'all, is going to be 2 doors down from the Roy O. Disney Suite. We're going to probably hang out in the hall and see if we can make friends with people that are there.
We may take them a Mickey bar or something like that, knock on the door and say, "Can we come spend time in your stateroom?" No, we're not those weird people that do that.
If I happen to be sitting in the concierge lounge, though, and strike up a conversation with them and they're like, "Do you want a tour?"
Yes,
I'm not
please.
going to say no.
Correct. But that's not a promise that we will have footage or any explanation of what that entails at all. So don't hold us to that.
Yes. Yeah. So what is it about concierge that's always appealed to you?
Okay, well, as we've discussed many times before on the podcast, I'm bougie.
True.
And I think the big thing for me that appeals most for the concierge experience on board the ships, and again, I've never experienced it before, this is a first, but just the feeling of being taken care of.
Right.
Like, they will handle any shore excursions we want to do. They will handle any dining that we want to do, like at Paulo. Paulo, excuse me, it's not Paulo. It's Paulo.
Yes.
That they'll just take care of that. And quite frankly, our concierge experience aboard Virgin and how smooth and seamless and hassle-free that was kind of got me to think, well, maybe we should do this on other cruise lines as well.
Right.
And I mean, that's because you do get priority boarding. You do get a special line to go through. You get a sticker, for heaven's sake. A sticker.
And for those that don't know, Candace is a huge sticker person.
I am. I love stickers.
She does.
Stationery, pens, sticky notes, everything.
Yes.
It's yes.
If it's office supply adjacent, she probably owns it.
And if you put some mouse ears on it, yes.
Yes, she'll pay extra for that.
I will. It's true. But anyway, like I was saying, there's just some special things that you get in the concierge experience. But there's also some things that you need to know about.
Right. Like
when you book your concierge reservation,
mm-hmm.
your deposit is basically gone. Like with other staterooms on the ship, if it's not concierge level, you can get it back. You can do all the other but once you book into a concierge room on the ship, it's gone.
Really? I didn't know that.
You can transfer it from sail date to sail date, but you are locked and loaded.
Okay.
With that. You also have to prepay for your vacation much sooner than you do in a regular stateroom because your booking window for all of the concierge amenities opens up at the same time that the Pearl Castaway Club reservations open up, which I believe is 120 days prior to the cruise.
120, 150, something like that.
Something in there. A long time, it seems
Right.
like. So you have to have the trip paid for in its entirety before you can take advantage of that. Also, you don't really call the cruise line for anything once you book in. You deal basically through email. There is a phone number that you can call, but when you're requesting things, you work through an email.
Right.
To the concierge desk. Once you're on board the ship, concierge takes care of you. You have like a team of 3 people that are assigned to your stateroom. They take care of you. If you need something, you don't go to guest services. You don't go to the purser. Yes.
Yes.
You don't go to the purser's desk. You go to concierge services. There's a private club on board where you can get free snacks, specialty coffees, which I am super psyched about. They do have a happy hour every evening where you can get free cocktails, that kind of thing. And just some of those little extra things. And like the shows in the theater, we get priority seating for those too.
Yep.
So we'll get to go into the theaters before the shows and pick our seats before
anybody else.
Excuse me. Choose our seats.
You can pick your seat if you want.
Before other guests because we are concierge level stateroom.
Yes, you can pick your friends and you can pick your seats, but you shouldn't pick your friends' seats.
Thank you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she stays married to me, folks.
I deserve this vacation. I've earned it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited too to understand Disney's level of concierge compared to Virgin's level of concierge.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get, like on the Virgin ship, we got alcohol in our room?
Mm-hmm.
Do we get that on the Disney ship?
No. We don't get alcohol in the room, but we do get sodas and things like that in our stateroom fridge.
Okay. With premium Mickey ice cream bars in that fridge too, or do you have to go to the lounge to get those?
Yes, because it's not a freezer in our room.
Okay.
It's just
a
fridge.
beverage cooler.
Right. But, I mean, if you want soda, even with room service, if you want a can of soda, even though room service is free typically, if you want a can of soda and you don't want to walk to the pool deck to get it in normal staterooms, you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Here, it's just in the fridge.
Yep. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about some of the planning we've already done and some of the planning we have yet to do.
Okay.
So as Candace mentioned with the concierge, we have to be locked and loaded with some of the things that we want to do 150 or 120 days out, whichever it is. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at my travel professional saying, figure that out before we hit there so we know. And she'll be the one to send the email anyway because I am super spoiled when it comes to Disney trips. I'm the dude that just gets to show up and smile and know that everything's taken care of. So it's pretty awesome.
And if you would like that experience as well, please reach out. I would be more than happy to help you.
Not sponsored. # yes, it is.
Well, yeah, it is. Hello. Anyway.
Some of the things we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do Apollo brunch.
Yes, because we've not before.
Right.
I need to get back to Apollo for dinner.
Right. So we want to do both of those.
Mm-hmm.
will we know our dining rotation ahead of time?
We can choose our dining rotation ahead of time.
Ooh. Okay, so I need to take a look at the restaurants and see which ones I want to go to twice.
Yes.
And which ones I wouldn't mind skipping, like, because those are the ones maybe you book into twice.
Right.
So you can go to Palo dinner on maybe the night at the restaurant you're going to a second time that's not specialty anything. You want to go to Palo instead.
Right. And to be quite honest, just putting it out there, we've experienced Pirate Night enough
Right.
that I don't need to have that menu again.
Okay. We just want to go early enough to where we can make sure we go see the fireworks.
Sure.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind, because that's usually not one of their best menus anyway.
Right.
Because that's the same at all the dining rooms that night,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for sure. And the beautiful thing is, like, we're going to schedule an email to be sent at 12:01 Eastern time.
Yes.
To the concierge desk that lists out the things that we want to make sure we have happen. So we might say we want Palo dinner on Pirate Night.
Mm-hmm.
We want Palo brunch on Day at Sea, or even Nassau Day.
So let's talk about our itinerary.
Okay.
With you saying Nassau Day, that leads me to think that we need to explain the itinerary, which I'm actually super excited about.
Me too.
Because we get to stop at both Castaway Key and Lighthouse Point.
Right.
Which we've not seen Lighthouse Point yet, so I'm super excited to see that. But then our only other port of call is Nassau, which I think we have talked about on the show before. We skip Nassau.
Yeah.
Like, that is an on-the-ship day for us, because Nassau is just kind of meh.
Yeah, it's kind of meh. And I was looking at the shore excursions just to make sure that there was nothing that I would want to say, oh, that seems like a really cool thing I want to do. Like, a half-day beach day on Nassau was like $300 per person.
Good gravy.
For your transportation and all of that.
No.
And we're going to get beach days on the 2 Disney private islands without having to pay for them. Mm-hmm. So why would we do that there when we love kind of days at sea and can explore the ship a little bit? Mm-hmm. So Nassau Day, I think we board, overnight sail to Castaway, spend the day there, overnight sail to Nassau, spend the night there, overnight sail to Lighthouse Point, spend the night there, day at sea, then next morning come back.
Beautiful.
I think that's what it is. I don't know where I put my phone, otherwise I'd look it up.
It's okay.
So, but I'm pretty sure that's the direction we go. And so Nassau will be like an extra sea day right in the middle. We just won't be moving. Mm-hmm. So even maybe, I don't know that I want to do, maybe we do the Palo brunch on that day.
On Nassau Day?
Yeah. But the only thing is you're not going to have as pretty of views.
Right, because you're not moving.
Because you're not moving out in the middle of the ocean.
To be fair, you aren't at dinner either.
That's true.
It's dark.
True. By the time you get to dinner, it's dark. You don't see anything. Yeah.
But we will take you with us on this planning journey. We will take you with us. So today's kind of an introduction of what we're doing and the planning process and all that kind of thing.
And then the other thing that we definitely want to make sure that we do is we want to talk about... No, we don't want to talk about... There's on the Virgin ship and then our Holland American ship, we figured out that we like doing the tastings and the mixology classes.
Yes, so we definitely want to do that.
Yeah, so we need to figure out, and maybe that's just what we tell our concierge person is, for now, we want you to book us into every one of them.
Yeah.
Let us decide later.
Yeah.
Because I was having trouble finding out what the classes were.
Yep.
And we're not going to necessarily know when they are until we get closer anyway.
Right.
So reserve a space in each and every one of those.
Right. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Because I know you're a big bourbon guy.
Right.
I'm not really, but I would be willing to try. And I think like some of the tequila tastings and some of that, we don't have a whole lot of experience with tequila outside of margaritas. So I would be interested in learning a little bit more about that and some of those things.
Yep.
Which, again, in a safe space, I mean, I feel completely 100% comfortable with Disney and the care they provide and everything. I would feel safe doing that.
Yeah, agree.
And safety is a big thing.
Yep.
It really is.
Yep. Part of the reason, like we said, part of the reasons why we're taking this trip. We know what we're getting. We want it to be special. all of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what else have we talked about being on our list of must-haves or that we're going to ask our concierge agent for?
Voyage long passes to the rainforest room in
Yes.
Sense Spa. I just think it's going to be so nice to just, like, if we need to unpeople for a little bit and don't want to go hang out in our room or in the concierge lounge, to just go into the spa and sit on the heated loungers or some form of relaxation that way.
Yes. And we get to pick and choose what we want for sodas too, right? We can
Yes.
say, hey, we want a 6-pack of Diet Dr. Pepper or
Yes. If they have,
right.
I think it's not that. I don't think they have Dr. Pepper,
Okay.
period. But it could be like Diet Coke or
right. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Coke Zero or something.
will they send us kind of a note of
I hope so.
here's what you can choose from before we have to make that decision?
I think it is. I think there should be something coming out fairly shortly because
Okay.
we're getting close to that window.
Right.
So I would think we should be seeing something soon. I'll be disappointed if we don't, frankly.
Right. Just so we know.
Right. So we're not asking for things that aren't possible.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. Thanks, Walt. But I would feel bad wasting somebody's time
Yeah.
if I'm asking for stuff that can't be.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all the things that we've talked about asking for early.
And also with concierge level staterooms is that you get to select your board time. Like, you don't have an assigned boarding time and boarding group to get onto the ship. You can just go. And so I will make it very clear that we want to be able to get onto the ship as soon as possible that day.
Yes.
And we will leave from the Poly and go directly there.
Yep. Yeah, and we'll need to talk about, again, the idea here is just sort of share things that we haven't decided on yet either. Like, do we want to do a couple's massage on board one day? Or do we want to do an open air massage again at Castaway or at Lighthouse Point, where those are the kind of things that you can book into, so you make sure there's space, all of that kind of thing. That I think is one of the key benefits of concierge is you are almost guaranteed to get into everything you want.
Almost. Not 100%,
Right.
but almost.
Right.
Yes.
Because even with the concierge level and Pearl level, it's the order that it's received, which is why we're going to schedule the email for 12:01.
Yes.
Because we want to be high up on that list of our requests going in.
Right.
So, like, if you
also, like,
want a cabana.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
going to say, is if you want a private beach cabana, which I think that's a little excessive.
Yeah.
They're very expensive. And I don't... Watch me say this. I don't know that we need that. I would like the experience, but I know what's going to happen if we do it once. It's never going to be any different going forward.
Yeah.
So,
And maybe a cabana is one of those things we look for when it's not just us
yes.
going.
Yes.
That way the cost can be spread out amongst, because very few of them are meant for just two people to hang out. Like, there's room for
Like
multiple
12
people
big
in
ones.
each of them.
Yeah.
So if we're going with a group of 4, 8, 12 people, whatever.
Yeah, that's a
then
great idea.
one of you books into concierge and sees if you can get a cabana.
Right.
And then everybody else just Venmos the cost or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. Not something we need for a just two of us trip, because we'll be just as happy pulling up a chair to the edge of the beach and let the water lap at our feet.
Yeah. One thing that I did want to kind of, like, something that popped into my head not too long ago, like, when we went a year ago in February
Mhm.
and how much we fell in love with the beach club.
Yes.
I'm interested to see if we are as enamored with Polly as we think we're going to be.
Yeah, I think that will be interesting.
I mean, part of our love with the beach club is, yes, the smell of the lobby, which is absolutely enchanting.
Mm-hmm.
But also the proximity to Epcot. You're 123 steps away, which meant after having our hearts ripped out and replaced during Luminous, we had a nice leisurely stroll, just the two of us, back to the resort.
Yep.
We have limited time in the parks on this upcoming trip. We're only going to be there for 2 days, and I think we've decided that Magic Kingdom and Epcot are going to be the parks that we visit. So after Luminous, we're going to have to deal with monorail crowds.
With a monorail transfer.
Right. Or I suppose we could hire a minivan, which may happen.
Right.
But be that as it may, it's still not as simple as walking.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see.
Yeah, because again, like one of the one of the beautiful things about the Poly is it is on the monorail loop.
Yes.
So it's easy. Once you get through, you're past security.
Yes.
You don't have to go through bag check, all of that kind of thing once you get to the parks. Epcot, you probably still do because you have to transfer.
No, because they'll check before you get on at the Poly, and then they don't. I mean, as long as you get to the Transportation and Ticket Center, you're still in that security loop.
Okay.
Yep.
So that, yeah, I think the coming back part when you're dealing with all the crowds, because we're not usually rope droppers.
Right.
So we're not going to have to, like, I don't think we're going to have as much trouble going as we do coming back with the throngs of people, which might be, we're kind of moving away from the cruise line a little bit, but that's fine. Maybe on the way back from our Epcot night, we get a super late reservation somewhere, like a fireworks viewing somewhere late, and just make sure you're one of the last people out of the park.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know how late the monorail runs, but
late enough, or we can get a minivan.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, lots of decisions still to be
figure it out.
made. We're 5 months away from this trip, so we got a lot of things to think about.
And yet we're like 2 weeks away from the payment deadline for
the cruise part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thinking about the cruise line, another reason for Concierge is the stateroom is a touch bigger.
Yes, a little bit.
And we're not going one of the big fancy suites. We're not going like a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom
Eventually,
or a royalty.
We will do that.
Yeah. Someday when our Patreon takes off, that's
which, by the way, you can become a Patreon of the show.
Yes, you totally can. We would appreciate it, but it's not required at all. We love you all. But I joke about that. But yeah. And I think those like Royo and Walt Disney suites on the ships sell out years in advance.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And seeing the price point on them.
Yeah.
But with that said, I mean, it's kind of like the funnel suites on the new ships.
Right.
Eventually, Patreon, help me. No, I'm kidding. I say that with 100% jest. I want to stay in that Epcot funnel suite.
Yes.
Bucket list.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Okay. Anything else? We'll get into kind of our reasoning for some of the things we're doing in the parks here in just a second, a little bit more. But anything else from the cruise line? Any other decisions that we've already made?
I don't think so, but I'm kind of excited to kind of see where this goes because again, this is a first for me as well. I've not had anybody book into a concierge suite before,
right?
So I'm a guinea pig.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, too, one of my favorite things to do on a cruise ship on a Disney cruise ship, is find our favorite bar.
Yes.
And go hang out before dinner, after dinner, whatever. I'm a little worried that the happy hour part of that, of the concierge, will not be the same experience of going and hanging out in a lounge.
Right, and I will say this to address that concern. We only have to do it once.
True.
And if we do that on our first evening before we go to dinner or the show or whatever we're going to do, and it doesn't match our expectations and what we want and what we've experienced in the past, we don't do it again.
You're so smart.
I try.
You're so smart.
I get one right every now and then.
Yeah. You don't have to drink your body weight in alcohol just to make it feel like concierge is worth it.
No.
So,
because I think the rest of the experiences that we're going to get with that opportunity is going to more than make up for it.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if on the Disney ship we think the price difference is worth it. Because one of the main reasons we booked into the concierge level on Virgin and the suite level on Holland is because that put it comparable to the price of non-concierge
on Disney.
So we felt comfortable with that price point already.
Right.
This is quite a bit more expensive. So quite a bit. Enough more expensive that I had to think about saying yes to the additional cost, as I joked about in the open. Okay. So Hangar Bar crew, what questions do you have about this upcoming cruise for us? What decisions do you think we're not talking about that you think we should be? What would you do differently than maybe what we're talking about?
If you have traveled concierge aboard Disney Cruise Line, what are we missing? What do we need to know? What was your experience? Let us know.
Yeah, because we're new to this. We want to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are doing the parks first.
Yes.
Which is, Candace has mentioned this multiple times, but it's always our life advice. Do the parks first because you don't want to spend 5 days on a cruise ship getting your feet all rested and getting yourself all relaxed just to go into the hustle bustle of the parks for a couple, 3 days. So we always suggest do the parks first, which is what we're doing. We're going into the parks. I don't even remember what day, but we're going into the parks for 3 nights. Day we get there, 1 park day, 2 park day, third morning we're going onto the cruise ship. Mm-hmm. So again, we decided to the Poly just because we love it and we've never stayed there before. And it's one of those places that's kind of always been on a bucket list for us of, God, I would love to stay there. And we just never made it happen. So now for the $300 or $400 difference that it seemed worth it to make it happen on this trip, because it's not like we're going to be out. We're going to have a horrible experience for a 7-night vacation.
Right.
So that's why we chose the Poly this time around. Hopefully we'll get a really good room with a good view, maybe a Magic Kingdom view. Who knows? I don't think that's the price point that we paid into. But
it is not, but magic happens.
Right. So we'll see what we get. What are some things that we're doing in the parks that maybe are either new to us or different, or what are the things you're most looking forward to about our park days?
Well, I am kind of struggling with this, and it's kind of a surprise that I'm struggling with it, but I'm finding myself struggling with it more than I thought I would. The fact that we're not going to be able to go to Animal Kingdom.
Really?
Yes. I love that park. And the first time I was in that park, I did not like that park.
Right.
But it is rapidly becoming one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That and Epcot would probably be my 2, if I had to pick favorite parks of the 4.
Those would be
it.
So why are you prioritizing Magic Kingdom over Animal Kingdom?
Because it also hurts my heart to be that close to the castle and not be able to see it.
Or just be able to see it without being able to walk up to it?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're staying at a place where you would be able to
see it.
Right.
But you can't. I mean, it's right there. And I don't know that you can really say that you've stayed on the monorail loop if you don't go into Magic Kingdom.
Right. But that was kind of my thought, is if you wanted to prioritize Epcot and Animal Kingdom, maybe we talk about staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge instead of the Poly.
No.
We've made the decision. Okay.
We can do Animal Kingdom Lodge another
another
trip, and maybe that will be a longer stay. And
yes. Okay. I was just throwing it out there.
I appreciate it, but no.
So, I think we haven't talked about dining reservations or anything like that. Mm-mm. Except for just a couple minutes ago where we talked about a potential fireworks viewing at Epcot. Maybe a dessert party or something like that. Do we know if there's any after-hours events happening while we're there?
No, and that won't open up for a while yet, so we've got some time to think about that.
Because that would be the only other thing, is we may not do, we may give up one of our park tickets if there's a Magic Kingdom after hours and do the Magic Kingdom after hours instead.
The thing about it is that the time of year that we're there, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party is going to be going on.
Right.
So we'll have to watch that schedule as well.
Yeah. Because we may make the decision to go over to Animal Kingdom anyway if both the nights that we're there happen to be Halloween parties. Because I don't think either one of us are interested in the Halloween party.
No, and they don't do those back to back. So
okay,
that won't be a problem.
Okay.
But it may adjust the tentative arrangement that I have in my head for how I want to do it,
Okay.
but we'll get there.
Yep.
And we'll do what we need to do.
Yep. I think so new attractions in Magic Kingdom. Anything going to be open? Newly open?
No.
What's going to be closed? Buzz Lightyear's going to be closed. Astro Orbiter will probably still be closed.
Not that we've ever gone on that anyway. But,
No, is
Big Thunder.
Big Thunder will be closed.
Mhm.
Well, we're there.
The Riverboat.
The riverboat is gone.
Yep. Sad.
I think it's closed anyway.
Well, if not, it will be.
Yeah. By the time we get there.
Yeah. Sad. And I say sad and with kind of a sad.
Right.
But our last trip in December was the first time that I had ever been on board that riverboat.
And once was
yet
enough.
I'm sad to see
Yeah,
it go.
just because it's so nostalgic. The horn, all of
Yes.
that. Very nostalgic, very Disney.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's
And
interesting.
I'm not super psyched about what's going in its place. So that's
Right.
probably more of my snark and spicy attitude.
I think I am excited about what's happening with those parks. But that's the other thing that we have to think about with Magic Kingdom. There's going to be a lot of construction walls up. Do we want to deal with that?
I didn't say I wasn't excited about what's happening in the park. I said I'm not excited about what's taking the place of the riverboat.
So what's taking the place of the riverboat?
Cars.
Yeah, IP.
I am thrilled for Villains Land. But Cars, it's not one of my favorite movies. It never has been.
Right.
I don't understand the franchise.
Yeah.
So I think that's all. Well, you said if we want to deal with construction, and I think visiting Magic Kingdom, yes.
Okay. It's worth it.
It
with
is worth
all the
it.
construction that's going to be going on.
Yes. If for nothing else, happily ever after.
That's true. It's been a long time since we saw that.
Mm-hmm.
December. No, we didn't see it in December, did we?
No, we saw the
We saw the
Christmas which was
party.
Fantastic, but
yeah, but it was no happily ever after. So February of last year.
yeah, that's too long.
Yeah. So
Um,
is there anything else new that like I don't think we've talked much about the parks. We've not talked much about like if we want to do table service, if we want to do all quick service. Those are decisions we still have to make.
Yeah, because we're not using the dining plan
Right.
this time as we have in the past. So we've got some decisions to make there. So maybe that can be a future episode
Yeah.
of navigating what that's going to look like.
Yeah. Because the only thing I know we both want to try is Art Smith's.
Yes, but that'll be day one.
Right. That's going to be where we go to dinner on Disney Springs Day before we go hang out at the Hangar Bar.
Right.
Before we hang at the Hangar Bar. So yeah, I think there's more decisions to be made about the land portion of our trip than there are the sea portion. I think we're more on top of everything just because money is due. We have to send that email.
Right.
Like we have to 2.5 months ahead, we have to be prepared. 3 months ahead, we have to be prepared for what's coming.
Yes.
And so we've spent more time on that.
Yeah. So stay tuned if you're interested where we take this and kind of walk through the planning process with us.
Yeah.
Stay tuned because we've got more coming.
Yeah, this is a bird's eye view into folks that don't have it figured out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is if you're planning your own trip, understand you're not going to have all the answers. And one of the things that is kind of more difficult about a Disney vacation is you have to make some of these decisions. Very few people can have a fantastic time just flying by the seat of their pants.
I mean, let's rephrase that a little bit because I think you can have a fantastic time if you have the mindset that you're going to have a fantastic time with no matter what you do. I think you can always have a better time and a more magical time if you put in the time to plan.
Right. And that's not
And
saying
plan well.
Right. That's not saying plan down to the minute. I know
No.
I've seen some people's spreadsheets of how they navigate Disney, and I would not want to go to Disney with them.
Right. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. Like we have to be here at this time and here at this time, and we have this lightning lane at this time, and we have to be first person in line for this attraction in the morning so we can make sure we get this because we prioritize getting on all the rides all the time. You and I are very much We're there for the atmosphere, and whatever else happens.
Right. We have our must-dos.
Right.
And the rest is gravy.
But the great thing about our must-dos is they're generally nobody else's must-dos, so they're always available.
Because we're traditionalists.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anything else?
Nope. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank our listeners. You guys are incredible. We love doing this for you and putting it together. But if there's anything that you want to see or want us to talk about, by all means, hit us up on all of our socials. Let us know. And interact with us there. We do post, not real frequently, but occasionally we'll post something and that doesn't have anything to do with an episode.
Yep.
And just come hang out with us.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of all of this is getting to know you all and
Yep.
spending time with you and a little community.
Yep, 100% agree. And with that, remember everyone, there is a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.